boys and girls, to another episode of Kayfabe Comparisons. My name is Mr. Knowitall, Daniel John Schafer, and I am joined here once again by the rest of the Kayfabe crew. Introducing first, he is the king of the Kayfabe kickflip, Mr. Wex breaking the Lawson. Wex, how you living today, bud?
Living pretty good. Been looking forward to this podcast for a couple of weeks, even though the show, we'll get into the show there, but I'm looking forward to talking with everybody. I was going to say all the boys, but the boys and the girl today.
Yes. Making her triumphant return, the voice of the vaginal perspective, Miss Jessica Rosenberg. How are you doing today?
Oh, man. I'm so excited to be back. It feels like the boys are back in town have been like, it's just like a repetitive record. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked.
Yes, the crowd goes wild. And Mr. Spectacular Vernacular himself, Mr. Jesse Baker. How you doing, bud?
Man, I can't complain at all. I'm just, working on some stuff out in the country, and I do mean cunt.
Yeah. Nice.
But I'm also probably gonna be back in Nashville pretty soon, and it's
rocking and rolling. I'm super excited about it. Mr. Half-Baked Kid is not here. He's actually in Japan and went to a pretty awesome show. I'm sure he'll tell us all about it on another catch-up episode, whatever we're calling it at this point. But today we are all back to talk about WWE Backlash in France. They really, this felt very much like a in your house type. Like, it definitely felt second tier, maybe even third tier, PLE, pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. Crowd was awesome though. So overall thoughts, let's just kind of get take the temperature. Wex, how were you feeling going into Backlash? Were you excited about anything in particular, or how were you feeling about it?
I mean, besides Cody versus AJ, I really didn't really care for what was going on, and the crowd is the only thing that I feel like saved this pay-per-view, and they made it just I don't know, but I get what you're saying. That feel that in your house. I don't know, but anytime a foreign crowd that doesn't really get shows, they go fucking nuts, and they really they let it be known. Come back, please, next time.
Yes, they definitely made their mark for sure. Jesse, did you have any hype going into this event, or where were you at on it?
I kind of I forgot the timing a little bit, so I watched it in two parts because I kind of thought that I definitely thought it was going to be just a regular time thing, and then I forgot that it was in France. So I watched half of it and then another half of it. But that affected probably my perspective, but I will say, the crowd, good God.
Yeah.
It was, my buddy Austin Klein likened it to watching a World Cup match. And I gotta say, main event, he's right.
Yeah, it was something special for sure. Miss Rosenberg, how did you feel going into the PLE? Anything you were particularly hyped about?
I love European fans. The chants are unbeatable, so I was excited to hear that. And then the only thing I cared about were the women's matches, and they were fantastic. So we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll get to that for sure. Definitely get to that. All right, let's kick this whole thing off here. The opening match is Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. I thought it was a kind of a smart idea to just kind of have them brawl and then have Aldis come out there and get a pop and just turn it into a street fight. I think that was pretty smart booking. It's a good way to kind of put some emphasis on the feud without expecting the work rate to be super high, because it wasn't. But it was definitely a brawl, and I really enjoyed it. I thought the goal of the match was pretty much just to introduce Tonga Loa?
No. Oh, yeah, his brother, Tonga Loa.
To introduce him to the bloodline, and that was accomplished. So the work was fun. It was a good little match, a good little brawl. I gave it 3.5. Didn't hate it. 3.5 beers from me. Wex, where are you at on this opening tag team street fight?
I am almost right there with you. I went 3.25 beers on this, and just because these matches are so chaotic, it's kind of really hard to rate them high just because there's so much going on at the same time. There's some pretty cool spots. Like I love when, the classic Kevin Owens superplex reverse one of the chairs. That was sick. And it was cool seeing Camacho back for the first time in I don't know how many years.
Camacho. Yeah. It was something.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
just like you said, it did the job. It got people going, and yeah, fun. I went 3.25 beers. A little bit
Nice.
above average, but you can't go too crazy with these type of matches.
Ms. Rosenberg, where were you at on this street fight?
I think it was a smart way to introduce the brothers. I think picture in picture doesn't work for my brain. I can't focus. There's too much going on, so that always takes it away from me. Tama took that chair shot though.
Yeah.
Like he took it, and I know there's a lot of people that are very excited for the new Samoans, and I'm one of them. So this one got a 3 out of me.
Okay. All right. We're all kind of pretty much in the same boat. Mr. Jesse Baker, how'd you feel about it?
I gotta say, I really enjoyed it, and I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I kind of I went 5, and I know that probably surprises everyone.
Wow. Yeah.
But the thing is, I feel like, first off, involving Aldous at all, I thought was a big move. And then I wasn't so surprised by them bringing in Tama, but I was very surprised by them bringing in Tangaloa. And I it just kind of, I don't know, it makes sense to me, and it's a smart move.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna eventually see, old bloodline versus new bloodline, very
Right.
AWO red and black versus black and white, and I think that'll be cool. That'll be
And
cool to see.
that's when it gets boring. But
Yeah, well, it's inevitable, I think.
Hey, we still got Jacob Fatu and Hiko Leo to come in, so
Yep.
there's a lot of potential there.
A lot of
Yeah.
people thought it was going to be Jacob, and I wanted it to be. I'm ready.
Yeah, I was kind of,
think
I was
he's still under
honestly
contract for a
also
little
hoping
bit.
for Jacob Fatu, but
no,
I think we're
Fatu
gonna
is-
see him
he's
sooner than
in.
later.
Fatu has apparently been signed to a contract. They just haven't debuted him yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's keep it moving here. The next match on the card here was Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi versus Bailey. The crowd was absolutely unhinged for this match, and it's kind of hard to pull off like these kind of triple threats, especially when you're trying to do like a lot of technical wrestling stuff and make it work. But I think they did a really good job. There was definitely some clunky moments, but overall the match was very solid. I actually think that this was like bell to bell match of the night. So for me, it was 4.5 beers. I thoroughly enjoyed this match, better than I expected. It greatly exceeded expectations as opposed to under delivering on expectations, which we'll definitely talk about more as we move on. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. 4.5 for me. Great job. Big shout out to all the women on this match. They all did a fantastic job. Ms. Rosenberg, what do you think about this WWE Women's Championship match?
I loved that it was a 3-way. I haven't really been paying attention. It has not been Tiffy time for me, and it's Tiffy time now.
Yeah.
I think she's
very
great.
Yeah.
I think eventually I would love to see her and Solruka go against each other. I think that would be fun. But I love Naomi and I love Bailey, and I know they're really good friends. So it was cool to see two friends kind of help showcase Tiffany during that, between the Naomi split-legged moonsault and then the prettiest moonsault spot. They all worked really well together. And if you're really, really paying attention, it's going to look a little clunky. But if you step back, it was just between the energy of the crowd, their work rate. I was at 4.
Yeah, solid rating. Jesse Baker, how'd you feel about it?
Man, I gotta say, Naomi's been bothering me since she came back, but it's only because of the hair.
Okay. Oh, okay. This is the second time. Last week and this week, I'm going to say it. So I will never know what it's like to have a black woman's hair, but as a hairstylist, I do know black hair history, some of it. I've been very fortunate to be taught it. If you don't get it and you don't understand it, it's okay because it's not for you, and I love you. But with the Mercedes Monet comment back last week, that's in relation to Baps, which is a 90s callback movie. Like the hairstyle, it goes back to Black culture, hair shows and things like that. And that's what it's about. So if you don't get it, it's okay because it's not for you. It's a different artistry because when it's still, you get the print. It's a marketable thing. It's how characters show off who they are and also show the work that's done and tie in their culture all at once. So that's just my piece about it. If you don't get it, it's fine, but don't let it detract you. Don't let it detract you from the work.
Hey, you're doing a deep cut with Baps right there. I haven't heard that. That movie.
That's literally the inspiration.
Thank you for clarifying that. That obviously is not something that I knew.
Yeah,
and like it distracts me constantly.
Sure,
and that makes me kind of not appreciate her work as well as I probably should most of the time. And like I still think her work was kind of subpar, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it's a good match. It was fun to watch. They're in France. Everybody's going wild for it. So, I mean, I can't give it anything less than 4 beers because the crowd was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crowd was rowdy for that one for sure. Wex, what did you think about this triple threat, man?
I really enjoyed this match. It was actually my second highest rated match of the night. And as far as really in-ring work and everything, it probably was the better match. But like, I didn't want to let the crowd like make me overrate some of this shit, but it was like really hard at some points. Like they went so hot for their entrances, anything Bayley did. And I think Bayley really carried the match.
Oh,
Naomi necessarily didn't do bad, but Bayley definitely carried this thing. And I've only seen like 2 Tiffany Stratton matches, and I can tell she's improved from those matches. I love the little cartwheel into the Alabama Slam. It's pretty fucking sick. Nice little innovation there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bayley's great. I mean, this match really was a lot better than I expected it to be because I was going and thinking like, who the fuck is Tiffany Stratton? She's gonna stink and join up, but it was pretty solid. I went 3.75 on here.
All right, so
that's my second highest of the night. So.
Yeah, we're all around that 4 beer mark on this one. I think that we can. I think I'm going to go ahead and say, surprisingly, this is match of the night. I think for the majority of us, I would definitely, if you get a chance to go watch one match from the show, I would highly recommend Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Bayley. Solid match. That brings us to the next match, which is not so great. It's Jey Uso versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. The train has come and left on Damian Priest for me. I'm not in, dude. I'm not with it. I don't like him. I don't like his work. I think everything he does is nacho cheese. I mean, it's not like he's a miss for me. And so it's hard for me. Like he has Jeff Jarrett heat with me. When he's on the screen, I don't want to watch his match. I just don't want to watch it. I don't like anything that he does. I don't like the way he sells. I'm sure he's a great guy. I know he's got a great story. This has nothing to do with him as a person. It's just like his character, his work does not resonate with me at all. Jey Uso, I don't get it either. He's a great tag team guy. Should never have been elevated higher than the mid card as a solo wrestler. He's just not. I mean, and it's crazy now that they're giving him this big push and they're going to put him in the King of the Ring tournament. And it's like, why? For what? It just doesn't. I mean, maybe I'm missing it, and the Yeet thing is getting over, but I think people just like doing the move. I don't think people really give a shit about his matches. I think they just like the gimmick, which is fine. That's totally fine. I'm not knocking it, but it's I feel like we're in a Kofi Mania type situation where it's he's getting more over than he really is because the crowd is enjoying being behind him, but there's not really a whole lot of substance to the crowd being behind him.
Damn, don't fake Kofi like that.
No, I mean, dude, Kofi's great. Kofi's a legend, but at the same time, come on, Kofi Mania, everybody, we were all on board as it happened, but now looking back, it's that was a pretty weak WrestleMania, guys. It was what it was. I mean, it was what it was. For me, this match was not good at all. I didn't like the work. I didn't like the story. I don't like that they're trying to make Damian Priest a babyface. Don't like that at all. I gave it a beer and a half. That's all I could give it. Wex, where you at on it?
Damn, wasn't that rough on it, but I still wasn't the best on it. I only went 2.5 beers on this match. And like it wasn't necessarily just like a bad match, but it wasn't even close to what it should have been either. Too much interference, too much bullshit going on, and just like you said, I don't get main event Jey Uso.
Mm-mm.
I mean, now I know which Uso he is now because he's got his own thing. Because for years I fucking never knew who. They would always confuse me because they were the same. Like the tattoo. I mean, now like they've changed it up. Like he has different tattoos, but they have the same tattoos, everything at one point. So, I mean, I know who Jey is now. I'll say that. And the bisexual Undertaker gimmick ain't working. Go back to Punishment Martinez, ditch the bullshit, ditch the Judgment Day, go back to being just badass motherfucker, and then we got some good Damian Priest on there. But yeah, 2.5 beers. Actually, this is what's worse, this or WrestleMania match with the Usos? Which one's the worst one?
This one's worse, I feel like.
Okay, damn. So that's really bad, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, this one's worse, I feel like. Jesse, where are you at on this match?
Man, I have to somewhat agree. I give it 2, but the thing is, it was so long.
Yeah,
and
it was very long.
I know that was kind of a thing that carried along the show, but also, man, I've always been a believer in Punishment Martinez, and I wanted Damian Priest to be a thing, and now seeing how they've turned his character into just some weird sub.
He's the third guy in his faction.
Yeah.
It's very strange, and that's I just don't really. I don't know. They waited too long for the Money in the Bank, is what I'll say.
For sure.
Would you say that he's the cuck chair of the group?
Yeah,
1,000%.
Yeah,
1,000%.
And it. I mean, it just comes down to it should have been done. I mean,
Jesse's frozen there for a second.
if you watch his, I didn't know that. But we're in the fucking country.
Okay, yeah, it happens.
We're in the country.
It happens.
It happens. But the watching his vest on Raw the following night, he clearly is Punisher logo and had Martinez on his side, and he's he's trying to get back to where he was. There, hopefully somebody's trying to get him back the fuck out of Judgment Day, because it's just not. It's not been viable for a long time.
I think with Ray on the sidelines, Judgment Day has pretty much run its course, and they're just trying to figure out a way how to get out of that. Ms. Rosenberg, what did you think about this match?
I think they're trying to break up Judgment Day, but I don't think they're doing it quick enough. We know that we saw Liv with the tiny little purple handkerchief hanging out of her pocket, and I think it's going to be a single white female kind of thing while Rhea's healing up, and then I don't know kind of where they're going to go, but I feel like it's just going to go away, and I'm ready. Bisexual Undertaker is probably one of my favorite wrestling memes, and that's about all he's good for anymore, except for pulling CJ Perry apparently. And anyway,
about that.
That's a whole other thing. I did like the spit in the hand hard punch, but that's just because I'm a freak. I zoned out during this match. I just can't take Damian Priest seriously because all I see him is bisexual Undertaker. It's just not serious. That Uso splash looked really good though. That was my.
Do you really want to love me, Undertaker? Is really what's happening.
Yeah, would you Undertaker me? I would Undertaker me.
It's like he borrows Rhea Ripley's gear sometimes. I just don't.
It really does seem.
I also hate JD, and I think he should go away.
He's a little fucking Neanderthal.
He's a fucking twerp, man. I don't like him.
I love him. I think he's fantastic.
He's a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler. He's got a big old fucking noggin. And
he's a Neanderthal ass head.
The spin in the hand punch made me drink a whole beer, so I gave 2.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair enough.
All right.
Let's keep it trucking along here. This one, the ladies had the match of the night for me, but this one, tough. This one was tough. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Kabuki Warriors for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I'll say that the Belair Asuka portion of this match was very good. They worked very well together. Up until now, they've done a really good job of kind of accentuating Jade's strengths and hiding her weaknesses. They did not pull that off very well at this show. I don't think she's particularly ready to be in this situation. I know that there's actual talk of them having to go back and strip them of the titles because of the botches were so bad. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, the only good thing that I can say was the sequence into the finish that she pulled off with Kairi Sane was dope. That was a cool spot. Loved it. But everything else was really hard to get through. I mean, it was just not good at all. It's cool to see Belair and Cargill get the titles, but to be honest, WWE has done a shit job of making the women's tag team division mean anything, and that sucks. That's on the booking because I feel like it should mean more. I mean, it was a nice it's a nice Polaroid. I know they've been pushing it, and maybe this team can actually help elevate the titles a little more. It would have been nice for Kabuki to have done that, but they didn't give him enough defenses to actually make a legacy or any kind of viability with those titles. So for me, I gave it a goose egg. It didn't work for me. I thought the match was one of the worst matches I'd seen in a long, long time. So that's where I'm at with that. Wex, what do you think about this one?
Man, this really sucks because Asuka and Jade are two of my favorite women's wrestlers. So I have higher expectations, but it's just fucking crazy. People said, oh, WWE didn't debut Jade for a year because AEW didn't train her well enough and she needs to be better trained, but she's literally doing the exact same shit. So did AEW really train her bad, or did WWE not train her good enough? I don't know what the fuck is going on at this point, but like you said, that finishing sequence, fucking so good. Reminds me of that match she had against Sky Blue. Went from the power bomb into it. Pretty much the exact same thing. Super smooth. And I get what you said. They're trying to accentuate her strengths and not show her weaknesses. But this match just, I don't know. Something didn't fucking click. And like I said, Asuka and Jade, two of my fucking favorites. So it saddens me. But I only gave this thing 2 beers. We already knew the outcome. It was the most predictable thing. We knew they were getting the belt. So it's just. Yeah. Entertain me before that happens. But man, it sucks. I love two of the 4 of my favorite. It's just disappointing.
Disappointing indeed. Miss Rosenberg, what do you think about this one?
I had a different perspective. This was my most anticipated match just because I really buy into the story of the Power Buff girls, Bianca and Jade. I think I love that Bianca. Name, yeah, it's the one that I've seen the most on Twitter, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's
and I think they should push that. Jade has it. She's just not there. Bianca's going to get her there.
Agreed.
There were some incredible spots that I won't forget, like that going into the finish popped me.
So dope.
So good. The Kabuki Warriors worked great. They're a great team, and there's something about seeing strong, confident Black women just be powerful, have this incredible athleticism, and not have to fake it. You could tell they've worked hard to be where they are. You could tell that they have it. You could tell that there's a bond between them. When you're respectfully talking about how close Bianca and Jade have gotten, and you could really see the work. Jade's top rope springboard was really good. That looked really good. And then I do think she needed to sell more during the armbar. That to me, Bianca was kicking around and kind of no, really bite into it. And Jade was just kind of okay, this is an armbar.
Yep.
So there's things like that, the in-between, just to tie up. You could be great at those spots. It's just the continuation of, what the story is, because it's there. It just needs to be connected a little bit better. I don't think it was as bad. I gave it 3.5. Just because I believed in the work. I could see it. And if you watch close, at the end, you could tell she was like really upset and she was apologizing to Bianca in her ear, and you could see Bianca mouth, "It's okay," like, and I think that really just stands to show that Jade wants this, that she's trying and she's gonna get there. And I gave it the half beer was for the heart, because you can tell that she's got it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think she could have definitely benefited from an actual NXT run. I think like working under somebody like Shawn Michaels, because I think her weakest link is her selling. And it's like, and when you're such a powerhouse like that, it's so hard to get sympathy anyway. And if you're going to be booked as a babyface, it's like, I mean, like, to me, book her as a monster heel and just have her smash everybody. Perfect. Yeah. That's perfect. She could definitely pull that off forever. But if you're going to have her be this babyface, it's like, she's got to learn how to sell better.
I think they're both going to turn.
Both of them turn.
Yeah, I think Bianca's going to go bad. You could kind of see it in her attitude changes. It's subtle, and
that's a good idea.
I think that's where they're headed.
Well,
the best way to book Jade is like book her like Goldberg. That's the best way to book her.
I mean, that's
or like early Batista. Yeah. Jesse, what do you think about this one, man?
It was a goose egg for me. Only because all the same shit that you guys have said. And to be honest, like, I love Bianca. I don't care about Jade because they haven't used her well yet.
Yes.
And like, I love Asuka, but also like, obviously these two were going to win. It just didn't really go over well. And it was so sloppy and so weird. And it was a big 0.
Big gooser. Well, here we are. We've come to the main event. Okay, I just got to say this one thing, too. 5 matches on a PLE. 5.
Right.
That's a little weird.
It's good, though.
Yeah, I think maybe one more. I think 6 would have been the sweet spot for me, personally. Also, too, like, your first time in France, and the crowd is amazing. Like, if I'm in the back and I'm like seeing this already, it's like, yo, I'm putting something else out there before this main event. Like,
did they do like 3 shows though?
They did, yeah, they did. But still, like, it's a PLE, it's Backlash. You got to do, 5 matches. I don't know. For me, little weird. Now, I will say this before we get to the main event. I love AJ Styles. I've been a massive mark for AJ since his actual debut in the Nashville Fairgrounds at the old school TNA. Loved him to death. He was like the first adult T-shirt that I bought, like wrestling T-shirt, was that shitty AJ Styles original TNA T-shirt that I have somewhere in my house.
Not the cum shirt.
I still own it.
You own the cum shirt?
Yes.
The AJ cum. That's a rough one, but it's cool.
It's a solid one though. It's a solid one.
I'm literally watching TNA in the background right now, and like it's.
I got an AJ Styles.
I've loved the entire like
arm's reach.
I've loved the entire Cody Rhodes like push. I'm super into this. I was really excited when they were like, "Hey, we're gonna actually book first big title defense is gonna be Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles." I thought that's a very big departure from what like Vince might have done right away. I thought it's like, hey, they really want to put on like a quality match in France. This is going to be incredible. And my expectations got way overinflated. I like really expected this to be a legendary match of the year candidate. It was not those things. The crowd should get 6 beers, period, for the whole show.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And the match was very good, but it wasn't great. And I feel like I just had these high expectations. I kept wanting these, like, there weren't even really high spots. There was like hope spots and then heat, but there weren't really a lot of like big high spots, which is, AJ Styles is like the beginning of the term spot monkey came around when he started wrestling. Like, that's, I don't know. The whole thing, it felt like AJ still looks great. And everyone's like, oh, well, he's getting old, whatever. Like, I don't think that's it at all. AJ's great. Cody Rhodes is great. I think this is a situation where it's like their chemistry is just not there. Like, I feel like they just didn't have good chemistry in the ring. It wasn't because anything was necessarily like botched or things didn't look like they were, like flowing fluidly. All of it worked. They didn't miss spots. It was just not very engaging. Like,
It was just boring.
Yeah, it was pretty boring. Like, I can't really put my finger on why. It was just not. I don't know. I was grossly underwhelmed. Maybe it's just because like the last things that we've seen of Cody Rhodes have been The Rock and Roman Reigns, and then it's like, I mean, those are tough shoes for anybody to fill, including AJ Styles. And it's just like I just feel like the chemistry was off. For me, I gave it 3.25 beers. It was barely over halfway for me. It just wasn't that great. Jesse, what do you think about this one, man?
I went at 5. I enjoyed it. To be honest, I really did. I thought that this was the centerpiece of the show, and mostly because of the crowd. Like, yeah, it sounded like listening to a World Cup match. It was like everyone was going back and forth so hard on so many different things that they did, and they had a lot of falsies, and they wrestled a very WWE style match for these two people. And you have to, like, one of the biggest things I said to a friend of mine was, like, the landscape of WWE being Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles in a heavyweight title match at a main event at all, much less in France, is pretty nuts. Like, yeah, that's just one of those things that, like, as nerds, we all would have never thought would have happened. Yeah. And, like, I enjoyed watching it myself. I did. And I know there was some slop and yada, 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 but I think that that's, like, kind of part of it. And I don't know. It was a 5 for me.
Wax, what do you think about this one?
Man, so this match, I had way high expectations for it too. And it did get my match of the night with 4 beers, barely edging out the Bayley match. And it was really because of the crowd. I didn't want to let the crowd like sway me too hard. But if I let them sway me too hard, it would have been 6 beers all down because they fucking pop for a fart in church. They pop for everything. Yeah. But I mean, it was a solid bout. But and honestly, I think this is better than AJ's Mania match, to be honest.
Yeah.
But dude, like, I don't know. Cody, if you think about it, Cody's never really been the work rate guy.
Well, I disagree with that, but
I mean, every match he's had with like some of like the top work rate guys have always been just like, okay.
I don't agree with that, but I
just know back when he was in New Japan, he was stinking it up against fucking some of the best dudes there.
Disagree wholeheartedly. I don't even understand how you can say that. I feel like the Okada match that he had was I genuinely thought that Okada match was better than the Omega match.
All right, then you can go ahead and that's just blasphemous at this point, but better than the Omega match. Come the fuck on, get real. I mean, it wasn't
very good,
dude. Come on now. But yeah. Speaking of, I laughed. I audibly popped and laughed when Cody hit the Rainmaker pose before he hit the fucking shit. I was like, dude, come on now. And then one that really pissed me off, kicking out at 1 on the Burning Hammer. At 1, it should have been a 1, 2. You know, like the one of those epic The Rock, like last second, like one of those. But no, I didn't like Cody powering up off the Burning Hammer at 1. That really upset me. But man. Cody's still never been the work rate guy. I'm going to die on that fucking hill. But yeah, 4 beers for me. I still think it was the match of the night. That crowd was going crazy. That phenomenal chant they did every time AJ Styles did anything good. Like that crowd, dude. It got me real hard, real rock hard.
Ms. Rosenberg, what do you think about this main event?
Like I said, it was boring. I mean, you know, like technically it's good, but it was kind of boring. Felt too long. I know there's the Bullet Club history there. There was AJ's
barely
beer.
Bullet Club history. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. There's people that are going to connect that shit though. It's still part of it. Still history.
Not my good brothers.
Not my Bullet Club brother.
Not my Carl Anderson and not my Luke Gallows, my dudes who I fucking love and talk to.
I know, yeah, you're a smart for him. We know.
I'm a fucking idiot.
So, like I was saying, Mr. 10 Tones Down, Flat Earther, his NWA gear was inspired by when he beat Daddy Rhodes. So that was cool to see a throwback to that. I drank a whole entire beer for ref Jessica Carr because she was the first woman to ref a main event in France, maybe all of Europe. I have to double check, but I know it was at least.
It's actually in WWE history. She was the first woman to ref a main event.
Damn, just now?
Yeah.
We should know their track record, so.
Right. So I popped for the Stardust moment, and then AJ just mouthing motherfucker, that because I could just hear it in Georgia in my head, like motherfucker, just so it's real sweet.
Yeah.
The crowd was more entertaining than the match.
Yes.
So that was
that's the whole show.
Yeah. So 3 beers.
Like I think that's what happened to this whole show to me. I think the crowd was so wild that it was like they are the show. Like, honestly, it could have been Brett and Sean in there, and I might have been like, I don't know. It was just like the crowd was more interesting.
Dude,
like,
this crowd would have popped for micro wrestling at Silverado's and Rivergate on a Friday night. Like,
I would have popped for micro wrestling at Silverado's.
Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, I would too. But this crowd, we just don't understand what they mean. That's the difference.
I did.
Every 2 count, they chanted "Simple me deux," which is basically that was 2.
Yeah.
For every single fucking 2 count.
Yeah.
They would go nuts. That's why I was like, God, how did the crowd have that much energy? Like, I've been to like pay-per-views, and like by the time the main event, you're like getting drunk, getting a little fucking like, tired.
Seriously.
They're just all fucking in.
By the end of the night, I can't even shout sweet after 2.
Yeah. I'm fucking hoarse and like, God damn it.
You just turn into Stone Cold.
Yeah, it's just a stone cold sound, not even a voice.
That is pretty much the way it works. Well, guys, I'd say overall this show was decent. I think it progressed storylines that needed to be progressed, and that's the main goal of any show, But oh yeah, yeah.
I still think the women carried the PLE.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Bailey's triple threat was the best worked match of the night,
hands down. Best match of the night.
Absolutely, and it's with. I'm not gonna say that it was my highest rated match, but even with. I felt Cody and AJ, but also I'm a nerd. I felt like Cody and AJ was the highest rated match, but it did carry the thing. And if you listen to the crowd, you can tell that's what carried.
For sure.
They sung for Bailey
came
the
to see
entire
Cody and AJ
match.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, the show, I mean, it's kind of a short show, but so is Backlash, and I'm still excited for where the stories are going to go. I'm excited to see what it's like. I feel like there's been several times where I've been like, hey, this bloodline thing doesn't have that much juice left, and it's like they still keep it going, man. And it's like
Moans run deep.
Yeah, and I'm with it. I think it's going to be fun to watch that expand. Cody Rhodes is the guy. I mean, they're not strapping a rocket ship to him. They've already put him in orbit, bro. He is fully the man carrying the crown, and I think he's doing a good job of it. And I think that I hope that he gets a very, very lengthy run. I will say that they need to find guys that are going to be able to work more. He is a true old school WWE style wrestler. He wrestles very much like you would see an Attitude Era match wrestle. And sometimes those were not very good matches, but the storylines are the ones we've all remembered for 30 years, So Cody is the right guy to be in that position. But
they need to find a few different rocks, angles, things along those lines.
Good mega heels.
Yes, we need another mega heel. The Roman Reigns, the entire storyline leading up to WrestleMania was perfect. The Rock, that was his best ever run ever. He was so good, and Roman Reigns was equally as good. He didn't get overshadowed. I thought that whole thing was so good. It's like it has to be. You can't go higher than that. You can't. Like, so this was naturally going to be a step down. It kind of sucks for AJ because, you know, no matter what, as far as my personal Mount Rushmore, he's going to be on it. AJ Styles is one of my guys. Will always be one of my guys. And I hope that they end up giving him something really good to hang his hat on before his contract runs out at the end of next year. But, you know, we'll see. One thing I do want to touch on outside of WWE is MJF is back. And I feel like that's something that AEW desperately needs. So I am excited to see where that goes. Any other words on the return of MJF?
I didn't know that at all.
He just finally came out of his Twitter retirement and finally started tweeting shit recently, kind of like, you know, slowly placing himself back in the mix.
Yeah. I didn't mean like on TV. Yeah, but he's like,
yeah, he'll probably be on TV in like 6 months then.
Yeah.
That's not like.
Yeah, I saw like a few tweets. Like someone tweeted their contract was like coming up, and I forgot who it was, but he was like, "Hey, what's up?"
That's the most important thing to that company that could possibly happen. Like, at all.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is they've had Adam Cole on TV not being able to wrestle for a long time now.
You got to get recently.
Put a mic in his hand, put him on TV. Put a mic in his hand and put him on TV. Like, you got to get him back.
For fuck's sake, like, that's the biggest mistake that they've ever made.
Agreed.
That, like, they didn't do it with Punk, even when he was hurt. And, like, I understand people had fucking complications, but the thing is, like, it's ratings, bro. Like, sorry, but it is. Like, I hate to say it. It's just the truth. But also, like,
I'd love to say fuck Punk, but yeah, keep going.
I mean, it just is. But also, like, you think about, like, not only MJF, not only Punk, but what about Omega?
Well, if you watch this past week, he made his return. So,
but he only made his return
well, he's already announced for tomorrow. So,
yeah,
it just wasn't in a substantial way, and he still has goddamn fucking diverticulitis.
Yeah.
So, like, it really not
diverticulitis, or maybe you don't know. My girlfriend has it, and you know, it could just symptoms just kind of go away. So,
sometimes it can.
Sometimes it can. Sometimes
it
doesn't. You know.
Yeah, it depends on if you have to get a bag or not. You know, if you can keep any part of your stomach or colon or intestines.
Lots of questions.
It depends on how bad it gets.
But one question is, when MJF does make his eventual return, if Swerve is still champion, do we got something there?
Oh, that's the feud. I mean, like,
for sure.
Gotta be. Like,
we got the newest baby face with the. Yeah, I just feel like it'll work.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, one of them hates everybody, the other hates black women. It's fine.
What?
I said one of them hates everyone, and the other one hates black women. It's fine. It'll work. It'll be a great feud.
Swerve has a history of hating on independent black women in wrestling. I'm not involved in the community. Yeah. I didn't really know that, but like apparently that's a thing.
Well, we'll have to see how it all plays out.
He happened to hate on a few women that happen to be black in wrestling. He's also black. Let's say he hates women. I'm just kidding. But no, Swerve's pretty sick. I don't know personally what he did, but I like him as a wrestler.
Yeah, I have dreams about them drinking each other's blood.
Oh, I still love that. I love that fucking match, man.
Rent free in my brain.
That match and Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. Those have two entered my top 10, and those have been like recent matches. Crazy. Yeah. I love wrestling.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. Well, I think that we've said all we can say so far. I don't know when we're going to be back. Probably another PLE or another pay-per-view for AEW. Whenever that's headed up, we'll let you guys know. But be sure to subscribe and give us a good rating and comment and all that other good shit that helps all the algorithm gods to keep us on the top of your feed. And the next time there's something to really talk about in the wrestling world, I assure you we will be back to talk about it. You can always find the show at Kayfabe.com pretty much everywhere. Kayfabe Comparisons on YouTube. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. You can find me at Daniel Daybreak on all of the socials. You can find my music stuff at The Far Between Band. We got a lot of cool stuff going on too that we're going to start rolling out in the next couple weeks. So be sure to go give that a follow. And yeah, Wex, give them the script, baby. Where can people find you?
You can always find your boy Wex. That Wex breaking the Lawson on all the social medias. Of course, the Kayfabe Comparisons, Kayfabe Pod on TikTok, Kayfabe just regular on the Twitter. And we got some really good crowd here in the French pay-per-view, and WWE doesn't go back to America till SummerSlam for pay-per-view. So hopefully we keep a good streak of lively foreign crowds. I know AEW, their crowds always hit on pay-per-views because, we got the marks there. And I want to see some good wrestling, baby. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to talking with everybody. Come visit us. Come subscribe. Come listen. Give us a like. Give us a review. Review it on the podcast. Say how much you love it. It'll boost us up a little bit.
Yeah, very, very much. So, Ms. Rosenberg, where can folks find you?
Lately these days, you can find me on Twitter at the infamous @PeggyHillFeet. Also known as the American Cream, Busty Rhodes. If you love talking about indie shows and want to be my little indie darling, let's talk about it there. If you want to see me in person and you are near New Albany, Indiana, come to Our Lady of Perpetual Hops May 10th for Tear the Club Up 97 Remastered. Billy Starks is going to be there. 7:30 bell time for Paradigm Pro Wrestling.
Love it. I love it to hear it. Mr. Jesse Baker, where can folks find you?
It looks like I'm frozen up, so I don't really know if that's like.
Oh, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Word, cool. Yeah, man. I am just Jesse Baker Nash on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm like regular old ass Jesse Baker on Facebook. And at the end of it, there's a lot of shows that I'm working on. I'm the senior booker for a company called Bonafide Live, which does Nashville Sunday night at 3rd and Lindsley, and a lot of other places between New Mexico and back to Nashville. So I just am doing that.
Love it. Love it.
Bonafide, baby.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week. We will see you guys the next time there's something to talk about. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Peace and love, baby. We'll see you guys out. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Well, Daniel, I got your fantasy football championship belt right here.
That's staying in the pod.